to Tiger Talks Wrestling. I'm your host, Tony, joined, of course, Eddie from the Bronx.
How you doing,
And
guys?
we also got John, or Fergus, there as well.
Oh yeah, welcome to the one.
Your name, I'll let you go ahead and mention that as well.
Well,
before we get going here.
First of all, all you guys know here on Tiger Talk Wrestling that I'm a proud New Yorker. I'm a proud New Yorker. I love my home city. I've been through September the 11th and all that. And what you're seeing in California with the wildfires and people losing their homes and everything, losing everything what they have. I just want to say that here at Tiger Talk Wrestling, we are behind you. We are praying for you. We hope that you get back to what California is. No matter what, we're going to be here with you. And we're just going to pray for you to make sure you're safe. What's going on there, it's a shame. Because California, just like New York, is two of the beautiful cities in the world. And I know we can't say anything, but if anybody that watches this program, please take a time to say a prayer for them and to donate to the American Red Cross, to help the victims get their lives back. Because they're not out of the woods yet. So if you can help, please donate to the American Red Cross because they need your help. So on behalf of Tiger Talk Wrestling, I appreciate all you guys, and I know my fellow colleagues feel the same way. So please donate now because there's a long road ahead, and we appreciate you and we love you.
And then on top of that, it's not just like normal people, it's celebrities too. And people don't seem to realize just because celebrities are over there losing their homes and that they can afford to rebuild that. It's not that case with celebrities. Some can and some can't. But the bottom line is they're still people, just like me, you, Tony, all of us. And just because someone has money doesn't mean anything. We're one nation. Whether we're divided or not, we're still one nation, and we need to look out for everyone in that nation. So,
and
yeah,
like John just said, and to that reporter that didn't know who Steve Gutenberg was, for shame. How do you not know the guy from Police Academy? Like, what the hell? But
damn it, Mom.
All put aside, even with the politicians, don't think about yourself. Think about people that are struggling right now, trying to get their lives back together. They don't even know what their homes look like, and I watched Jimmy Kimmel. To watch Jimmy Kimmel crying on national TV about his city, and he is from New York. For him to cry about Los Angeles, that hits him hard. So, like John said, it doesn't matter who you are, rich, poor, middle class, you're still people. Think about that. The hell with the politicians. The politicians are supposed to be there to help people, not fight over one another. So if you can't do that, what the hell are you? Why the hell are you a politician? If you're not caring about the people that are there, get the hell out of politics. You don't need to be there. But again, like I said, we love you guys.
Yes, that John. Melina was for a couple days missing, and people couldn't get a hold of her. Luckily, they have. She's gotten a hold of people. She is fine. But yeah, that was definitely one thing for the wrestling career. A lot of people were worried about her because nobody could get in contact with her. Nobody had any idea where she was at, because Melina does live of where the wildfires are at right now in California, so in Los Angeles. But luckily, she has since. So,
That's
but
good.
there's other people. There are other people that are missing, that have lost their homes, that have lost their lives. So yes, I agree with both you guys. We pray for costs as much as we can, and just hope that these fires can be taken down in due time. This is crazy because they've had fires in California the last couple of years, in a long time. So
It's Seth Rollins' fault.
Oh yeah,
yeah, you shouldn't be burning down.
I don't even want to say what people are using that song, and they're showing the fires, and you hear the Seth Rollins theme song. I'm like, that's not the right time to do that. To play the "Burn It Down" song.
But I will say this: the best TikTok I have seen not only uses that on the fires, but then flips to the other coast, and it's the scene from Polar Express with the train like gliding all over the lake with Rob Zombie playing.
Oh no, man. And by the way, when you mentioned Melina, she is a national treasure too. Who doesn't want to see them splits anymore? I do. I want to see them splits anytime she comes back.
I would love to see
it.
I mean, especially if they do it on Netflix.
I don't know if people can see my watch, but I usually put my Yankee stuff on there. But right now, I got two things that say "Pray for LA" and the LA Dodgers, logo. So, that shows that I am not a bitter man about what happened in October.
Right. That is true. All right, so that's our PSA, so as to speak. We need to get that part out for California here. But we wanted to get that part out of the way. Now to get to your regularly scheduled broadcast. We are here at Tiger Talks Wrestling today for part 3. We've gone over the 88 through 2002 Royal Rumbles, the last couple shows. We are ready to go into full gear of the first Royal Rumble and SmackDown. Different part of that Royal Rumble match. And we're going to kick off right away into the 2003 Rumble that starts with two guys fighting for SmackDown in the Royal Rumble match. As you got the 7-foot-tall Paul Heyman in his corner going up against the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. I was rewatching, John mentioned just before we went on air that he was just rewatching the 2003 Royal Rumble not that long ago. I rewatched it a couple days ago, and those two guys had a good opening contest for the Royal Rumble that year. Honestly, I don't think Brock and Big Show ever had a so as to speak match, but this was a decent match between the two of them. Seeing Paul Heyman get involved in a couple different times, got knocked off the apron before Brock Lesnar would pick up the win and head on to the Royal Rumble match itself. What did you guys think of that opening in 2003?
It was predictable.
Sorry, John, go ahead.
Yeah.
It was predictable. I mean, you knew Brock was going to win that match. I mean, he needed it more. I mean, Big Show's done how many Rumble matches? Big Show's done all this crap, as the 7 foot tall, long hair, short hair, whatever, big pile of stinky grade A monkey crap, whatever. It's Brock's time. Brock needed the win.
I agree. I felt like Brock was the chosen one at the time, and it's amazing. Both of them are not even in the WWE right now. I mean, Brock, we know he's coming back eventually. Do we see Captain Insano, come back at the Royal Rumble? I mean,
No.
I doubt it.
No, he's too busy with the show.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Brock needed it more. And Big Show at the time was still really heavy. He was the guy wore jeans.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I think it was the right choice.
It's for besides that, they had the Dukes beat Lance Storm and William Regal to win the World Tag Team titles on the show. Tori Wilson beat Dawn Marie Wilson. Remember, the storyline was married to Tori's dad, Al, in storyline-wise, leading up to that. Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, in his return to the WWE, defeated Triple H by disqualification in a world title match. And Kurt Angle beat the Rabid Wolverine by submission to retain the WWE Championship before we get into the Royal Rumble match itself. Anything you guys want to say about those other undercard matches before we get into the Rumble?
The Scott Steiner match was the shittiest match in the world. That was garbage.
Yeah, crap, yeah.
The Steiner
I didn't rewatch it, but
not happen.
Man, you didn't need Steiner Matt for that one. You just needed Band-Aids and Ben Gay. That's how bad that fucking match was.
Band-Aids combo.
Yeah.
The WWE title match, on the other hand, was a really good match. I think it was one of the first times in WWE that the Wolverine actually tapped out too, so wasn't something that happened too often in WCW or WWE for him. He did get a standing ovation after the match. And yes, we will talk a little bit more about him, his actual name, because of, well, we all,
yeah,
he doesn't deserve that publicity. All right.
I will say, even though we're not
the Royal Rumble match itself kicks off.
We're mentioning his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even though we're not mentioning his name, he's still one of the coolest parts of the Radicals. I mean, not that the Radicals were good at all, but I'm saying when it came to that stable, he brought something different to the Radicals.
That is true. I'd say he's the most over star of that faction as well.
Yeah.
The jump. Then we get to the Rumble match itself. You knew going in who the number 1 and number 2 entrants were going to be, because they got to choose their own spots in the Rumble match. But you get Shawn Michaels coming out there at number 1. You knew it's supposed to be Chris Jericho. Pyro goes off after the music hits. And you get the pose, but then when he turns around, it's actually Christian that's there in the entranceway, and Chris Jericho comes in the ring from behind, delivers the low blow, and attacks the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, to kick off the Royal Rumble match. Definitely a different and unique way to kick off the Royal Rumble. Nothing that we had ever seen before with a Rumble match. So it's every minute and a half that another participant enters. Christopher Nowinski is the number 3 entrant. He comes down towards the ring as Jericho's still beating the crap out of Shawn. Jericho finishes beating up Shawn and then dumps him out of the ring before Nowinski even gets in. Because Nowinski would inside the ring, and there's a lot to talk about when it gets to Christopher Nowinski and what happens to him when he does get in the ring. But we'll get to what did you guys think of the whole Jericho and Shawn situation to kick off this? Jericho just absolutely demolished Shawn Michaels for 2 minutes to start the match.
It was
5 seconds.
bloody brilliant. That is one of the most creative and spicy ways to start the Rumble match, and I'm so glad they did that. I mean, Jericho brutalizing Shawn Michaels, leading on to what happens later in the match. I mean, it was storytelling at its finest. They did a wonderful job with it.
I agree. What a way to start off with Jericho having a decoy of that creepy little bastard.
Yes.
And Christian. But look what we got at WrestleMania 19. We got one of the greatest matches. You have Mr. WrestleMania versus a guy that plays for Posy.
Yep.
I mean, it was a great match. It was Jericho going up against his childhood favorite. And then we had the same thing back. And then AEW destroyed it when they did it with Sammy Guevara and Jericho in New York 2 years ago. You know, it's like, don't mess up what's great because you guys are assholes. You know, so, but yeah, what a way to start the Royal Rumble with two guys that are workhorses.
Yes. I'd agree. So we get it. Get Mysterio is the number 4 entrant. Edge the number 5 entrant. Christian is the 6th. Before I go past that too far, what I was mentioning is Christopher Nowinski took one hell of a solo match, and he got his face. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe this concussion that led to him with this whole CTE thing that he preaches about these days.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think this is where I think he got dropped on his head 2 weeks after this by Chris Benoit. I'm sorry, the Wolverine. My bad. I'm going to hell we're calling him.
I wasn't going to mention his name. He doesn't deserve the recognition.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about Joe. I thought we were talking about Joe Henry.
Did you just compare the Wolverine and the best dude from Scotland on the mic?
Maybe.
You dickhead.
I am. I just said to you when you came over to my house. Hey, hold on a minute. I just said to you, you ham and egger, that I'm the heel of this group. So take that, bitch.
You talk like that, the fucking.
He has his moments.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen, Fergie, whatever your name is, what you're calling yourself.
Well then. Anyway, for Christopher Nowinski would eventually get eliminated by Rey Mysterio. Nowinski just looked all sorts of out of place after getting beat up quite a bit there in the 4 minutes he was in the match. Ray would eventually get eliminated by Jericho. Chavo was the number 7 entrant to Jerry. Bill DeMott actually was the number 9 entrant. It's different to hear him be called that instead of Hugh Morris. I'll mention that much. even though he might have went by Bill DeMott for a while in WWE, but he wasn't on TV as a wrestler for very long. Let's see, Ray get eliminated, as I said, by Jericho. Last that long in his first Rumble. Bill DeMott get eliminated by Edge 2 minutes in. Tommy Dreamer would make his first Royal Rumble appearance here, number 10.
Wait a minute.
Who? Go ahead.
Bill DeMott did not get eliminated by Edge. He got eliminated by that fucking kendo stick to the head.
That's true, from Edge. Using it. Like you say, who wants to listen to what Tommy Dreamer did when he entered the Raw into that? Tommy Dreamer made the Rumble extreme.
Oh, yeah.
Brought in the kendo sticks, I believe a trash can as well. Him and Dreamer and Edge had fun with those kendo sticks on Bill DeMott. That's for sure. But Dreamer would only last 48 seconds before Jericho and Christian eliminated him.
After the contraction.
Very short outing for... After the... What?
The contrasto.
Contrasto? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a trash show. Oh my God.
That's why I had to ask. It's like, did you say what I thought he did? Yep.
Yeah.
Tajiri got eliminated by Jericho. And then number 11, B2. Or B squared, I guess they technically were calling him. Who had apparently just had a breakup with John Cena at that point in time. He comes in and lasts the whole 24 seconds before getting eliminated by Edge. So that was a wonderful debut for him. Java would get eliminated by Edge. Christian got eliminated by his own friend, Chris Jericho. Edge got eliminated by Jericho at the same time because then Christian were fighting in the corner on the side, and Jericho came over and dumped them out of the ring. Number 12 entrant would be, of course, Mr. Pay-Per-View, Rob Van Dam. Quite a while in the Rumble. Number 10, Edge. 11, yeah, that's going to be a while before. RVD was followed by Matt Hardy, version 1. B1, Hardy, Rosie, Test, and then John Cena at number 18, making his Rumble debut.
But can we say real quick that it was amazing to see Jeff Hardy deliver a swanton to not only Matt Hardy, but Shannon Moore as well?
Yes, that was perfect. Shannon goes in the ring to cover up Matt to try and stop Jeff from delivering the swanton, and Jeff just hits it on both instead. Charlie Haas is entrant number 19. You get Jeff Hardy eliminated by RVD. A little throwback there because Jeff and RVD, of course, had their battle over the Hardcore Championship. And they had the Intercontinental title as well. I don't recall if it was before this or number 20 was Rikishi, and then number 21, Jamal. So you got both members of the 3-minute warning in there. John, you about this Royal Rumble for a specific reason when it comes to those three guys. What were you saying before we went on the air about it?
Well, it was funny seeing Roman's brother Rosie beating the crap out of Rikishi. And then when Jamal come out, just seeing how young in that version of Umaga as Jamal was just, it was so different watching it after seeing how dangerous and deadly Umaga was. Going back to, yes, Jamal was still part of this deadly tag team, but it was like a different version. I mean, it was deadly Umaga and then Jamal. I'm that cuddly guy with the dreadlocks.
Right? Yeah, it's definitely nice.
And Rikishi hit so fast in Umaga's face. On that Jamal's face.
Yes, he did. Jamal got a stink face.
Mm-hmm.
He had 3 members of the Bloodline fighting at it in 2003. I think they even did mention on commentary that they were related too, surprisingly. What's up, Mad Eddie?
Roman's brother, I think he was better as Rosie, not that stupid ass. I'm a superhero. Nobody cares.
The superhero in training?
I really hated that gimmick. I'm like, what the hell? Do you really need the Hamburglar and Grimace? Like for the love of God, The Rock's right. Hey, look, it's the Hamburglar. Like, geez. I'm like, I can't. I always hated that gimmick. When you have guys that talent that are Bloodline members.
Yeah,
you could have did all right. Jamal.
Bloodline.
I feel like. Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm gonna say my connection said it was lost.
That's right. Now we can hear you. I feel like 3-minute warning was a good because it's like you got guys with a separate Rico. Nobody cares about Rico. Rico could be with
Right.
Rico is a good wrestler, but still, 3-minute warning was. I always feel like if you would have kept them together, I think it would have been really good. But we would never get Umanga. I mean, that was a devastating character and all that. So I feel like they missed out on Roman's brother, Rosie and Jamal. I feel like they just messed up on some a little bit, but that's what you get when Vince McMahon has his finger on the button.
That is true. Kevin, I see you in the chat section joining in and that you enjoyed the 2003 Royal Rumble and have a lot to say about it.
Yep.
I was going to say, after the 3 members of the Bloodline were fighting, Kane comes in, and not long after he enters, he eliminates Rosie of 3-minute warning. Eddie Guerrero would get Booker T, who would be the number 24 entrant. You got Shelton Benjamin. Booker came in and was a house on fire for a brief period as he'd eliminate Eddie Guerrero and then did a spin-a-rooney as we see the Royal Rumble spin-a-rooney. But if I get into what happens to him next, got to go into what happens to Chris Jericho. Booker gets that elimination. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, returns to the Royal Rumble and goes after Chris Jericho, leading to, or tries to go after Jericho, I should say. The referee's back, but it leads to Test getting the upper hand on Jericho and eliminating Chris Jericho, and then you get Shawn and Jericho fight more. Chris Jericho cost Shawn a chance to main event WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels would come back and return the favor. The match that you were talking about for WrestleMania 19 between HBK and Y2J.
Yep.
Booker would then get eliminated after being in the ring for 6 minutes, and Gold Dust that were out was 25, 26, and 27 entrants. Booker gets eliminated. world's greatest tag team. Batista comes in at number 28. Yes, got eliminated by Batista pretty much right away once Batista gets in there. The eliminations were sparse. We'll go from there. Brock Lesnar at number 29 and number 30 is The Undertaker. Then, at one point, thought he got the upper hand on The Undertaker again and thought he drop kicked him and knocked him out of the Rumble like he had done the previous 2 years previous. However, that wasn't the case. The Undertaker stopped himself from going over the top rope, and The Undertaker would get his revenge from this Royal Rumble. Get some more revenge, I guess, technically, I should say, since Maven got his ass whooped by the Phenom after eliminating the American Badass.
I was hoping we were going to get some more Maven popcorn.
Right? So we get down to the final four. You got The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Batista, and Kane. They got the Brothers of Destruction and 2 younger guys. Batista gets eliminated first by The Undertaker. Then Kane would get eliminated by The Undertaker only for but Brock The Undertaker out of the ring to win the Royal Rumble match. I mentioned R-Truth, but R-Truth, we'll get into what Kevin was talking about later. What did you guys think of the closing sequences of this match?
He was called K-Quick.
He was
yeah, but he wasn't in.
Calling. I know it was because Eddie was saying about how the whole about the superhero comedy gimmick, and it was saying that R-Truth made the comedy gimmicks work.
Yeah, I could.
Sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say K-Quick didn't debut till Over, I think so. But anyway,
K-Quick was
what did the closing sequence between those four?
Yeah. Johnny, you want to go first?
I mean, sure, I'll go first. Once again, as much as I want to say predictable, it wasn't completely predictable. But this Rumble was a great way of showing that WWE was going to be leaning more, or I guess not totally more, but more on these new stars. More of like a rebirth in the company when you put it on the new guy, Brock Lesnar, to win the Rumble. And I thought, once again, genius that you're not just throwing the same old people to make the Final Four. The same old people doing this and that. You're letting the new generation kind of take charge. And I thought it was a good way to end that.
Oh, damn. You just said what I was going to say. Okay. Have a good day, people. See you later.
Let's see some of the newer generation get a chance in that Royal Rumble as well. Of course, out of it, as we got at WrestleMania 19, I mean, the world title match wasn't that much. Didn't matter that much, to be honest. It got Booker T as one and only WrestleMania title shot. But the WWE Championship match, of course, was Kurt Angle defending against Brock Lesnar in an intimate match at WrestleMania 19. And then, of course, you got the shooting star press in that match from Brock that damn near broke his match.
Let's not talk about that one. Holy mother! When he did that off the top rope, it was like, what are you doing? You're too big for that, you know.
Right? Even though he'd done it before in FCW,
But look what we got out of it too. WrestleMania 19.
A lot about that, man.
WrestleMania 19. I still think this is what I feel. You got some great matches out of WrestleMania 19. You had the Taker going up against the Big Show and the A-Train. and we're not going to talk about the Australian guy that was supposed to be in it. You got Rock versus Austin for the final time. Right. And The Rock was the Hollywood Rock, which I still think is better than the final boss. You know, I mean, it was similar, just a little more meaner. And then one of the boringest matches that one of the boringest matches that we got out of that match was two guys that think their shit don't stink, and the immortal scumbag and Vince McMahon. Only thing that came good out of there was Roddy Piper.
We talked at length about,
WrestleMania
19 on our WrestleMania retrospective, just to bring up a couple things that happened coming out of there.
And me and John, I think we did it. The pillow fight with the two girls in the Bud Light commercial. Best time ever.
We're going to move on from that to the Rumble in 2004. So that would kick off Evolution with T. Boys to retain the World Tag Team titles. Rey Mysterio would beat Jamie Noble with Nydia to retain the Cruiserweight title. Eddie Guerrero got a win over Chavo Guerrero with Chavo Sr., Chavo Classic. And Brock Lesnar beat Hardcore Holly to retain the WWE title. And main event, last man standing match, the World Heavyweight Triple H and the Heartbreak Kid go to a draw. I don't think Shawn Michaels and Triple H ever had a bad match against each other.
Oh, no, definitely.
Just chemistry between those two was off the charts, no matter what they were doing.
Or as a tag team.
I mean, go back to the previous month with Armageddon, with the 3 stages of hell for the World Heavyweight title. That one was an instant classic, and then you go to the Garden for a Survivor Series and an Elimination Chamber match. I mean, them guys really put on the show. I don't think, when you have two guys that were friends, they trust each other. And I always thought that the matches with Shawn and Triple H were good. And then, we're in 04. So WrestleMania coming up in New York. I wish it was just them two wrestling at Madison Square Garden. It would have been really good.
Yeah, really good. But interesting that Hardcore Holly was a shot too against Brock Lesnar, might I add. That's what happened.
Well, that was weird, and I do agree with you. That was weird because it's like, why Hardcore Holly? But I understand it was due to Brock Lesnar breaking Hardcore Holly's neck.
Right.
And on SmackDown, I remember that, but it was like, I still think Hardcore Holly, no offense to Bob Holly, I don't think he was ready for a world title shot.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I know he was with the company.
Earned.
When did he come into the company? 90, 93, 94?
Somewhere's in there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's say this. He was a race car driver, and then he became a hardcore guy. It's like, you really know what to do, but yeah, I felt like it could have went to somebody else, so yeah, that's what I think,
Right. All right, so we get into the Royal Rumble match itself, and I could hear John saying something there for a moment, so I'm sure he can hear us still. We kick off the Rumble with the Wolverine Intercontinental Champion at the time, Randy Orton, in his Royal Rumble match debut. Two guys that had quite the year in 2004 that would see them, of course, trade against each other at SummerSlam that year as well for the World Heavyweight Championship. That's another. But to see them kick off the Rumble and then later that year between the two of them, interesting to take into note when you rewatch this. You get those two to kick off. Strongest Man, Mark Henry, in at number 3. 4. And then number 5 is APA. However, didn't last very long in there, like 38 seconds, because he comes in and delivers a couple clotheslines from hell. Dumped out by the Wolverine after 38 seconds. Interesting to note. And then you get Rhino in at number 6. Not long after he comes in, him and Mark Henry team up to eliminate Tajiri from the match. We'll go more into that. You get Matt Hardy. I'm going to do the same way I did with the 03 one. I'm just going to go through these names real quick that come out. Matt Hardy, Steiner, Matt Morgan, the Hurricane, Booker T, Kane, Spike Dudley, Rikishi, Rene Dupree, A-Train, Shelton Benjamin, Miller, which we got a story we can go with on that one in a little bit. Kurt Angle, Rico. So, John, before I go into it.
Okay. I'm probably going to say what you're about to say, so if it is, I apologize. But we got to talk about Kane getting eliminated because the gong making him think the Undertaker was back and then getting dumped over by, I believe it was Booker T. And then him just taking it all out on Spike Dudley with that choke slam on the ramp.
Yeah. And we were going to get into that is what happened, leading into, of course, The Undertaker making his return at WrestleMania 20 to face Kane. I was going to say, before we go into the number 21 entrant, before this match started, they show a seat behind the announcers that was because it was for. Now, the number 21 entrant was supposed to be Test, if I remember correctly. They go backstage after the buzzer had went off and nobody came out. You see Test laid out, Stone Cold, the sheriff at the time of WWE. He's talking to whomever attacked Test in the ring because they're taking Test's spot. To the surprise and shock of Randy Orton, and the music leading to the number 21 entrant being, of course, the hardcore legend himself, Mick Foley. Before the match started, because he had said he would if Mick Foley didn't show up, and therefore, Mick Foley wasn't a coward because he showed up. Mick Foley comes in there and goes right after Randy Orton. Doesn't take long before Foley from the match, but also eliminates himself. Both guys on the top to the floor. Those two still go at it. You get the chair shot from Foley's head. Incredible brawl between the match that they had. It says oops, connection lost, hopefully. Leading to the match that they would have at WrestleMania, of course, being a 3-on-2 handicap match. Evolution connection. But not only that, seeing Mick Foley and Randy Orton in the, what was it they had? I believe it was at Backlash that year.
Yeah, it was a hardcore match for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah. Right, that pretty much what he would become.
Yep, that was the birth of the Legend Killer.
Yes. Christian, Nunzio, Big Show, 20, up to 24, 25, Jericho, Charlie Haas, Billy Gunn, the one Billy Gunn making his return. John Cena, Rob Van Dam, and Goldberg, who had 30 entrants in there. Now, you went over the whole Kane situation and him getting eliminated by Booker. Booker would get eliminated by... It seems like just about every year, Booker T would do a spin-a-roon that would cost him to get eliminated from the Royal Rumble match. But their story. What Ernest the Cat Miller was, once he had his entrant, of course, I believe it was down to just the Wolverine and Randy, and the Cat comes out with what was that guy's name? They said it, but I can't remember what his name was anyways.
Jeeves. I think it was Jeeves.
Jeeves, yes. Yeah. Something like that anyways, if it wasn't. They come into the ring and being dancing fools pretty much.
No, it was...
Oh, is it John?
Lamal,
yeah, that's right.
Was it?
Okay, yeah. They're dancing. Somebody calls your mom. Somebody call my mom.
Yeah.
That Brothers Play would eventually use for his theme song. Leading into Randy Orton eliminating the Cat and Lamal getting eliminated by the Wolverine.
Pretty sure they took the wig off them.
Of course, when you talk about... Yeah, I remember that was funny. But you go past that, when you talk about the number 30 entrant, Goldberg, he had a run-in backstage with Brock Lesnar earlier in the show after Brock had beaten Hardcore Holly. Goldberg looked there for a bit until Brock Lesnar comes out and delivers an F5 to Goldberg during the whole match. Goldberg gets up and glares over at Brock, leading jumping Goldberg out of the ring, leading to, of course, Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar in one of the shittiest matches in WrestleMania history.
Can we just get to this question right? After seeing that spear by Goldberg, how the fuck was Nunzio still alive?
Right? Yeah, because Goldberg...
Well, the reason why Nunzio was alive because he had so much eggplant parmesan in him, so that's why he still was around.
Right.
And his ribs are made of garlic bread.
Before I get to the final four, Cena does get eliminated by the Big Show, leading, of course, to their match for the United States Championship to kick off WrestleMania 20 as well. Cena did land awkwardly. I believe I don't remember if he broke his ankle or if he just injured it. But I do know they had to help him to the back after he got eliminated. Again, in contest at WrestleMania 20, Cena beating Big Show to win the U.S. title. Brings us to the final four. You got Jericho, Big Show, Wolverine, and RVD. Big Show, and then Jericho does as well. Bringing us to Big Show and the back and forth for a little bit, and then the Wolverine ends up so cold pretty much on Big Show as Big Show tries eliminating that. He ends up pulling the Big Show over the top to the floor. The Wolverine wins, having lasted an hour, 1 minute, 35 seconds, the record for the Royal Rumble match. And at that point in time, I was very happy to Rumble match. I would say even a bigger deal that he won from number one compared to Shawn Michaels winning at number 1 when Shawn, because of how short of a Rumble match that was, won the Royal Rumble.
Not to mention, no offense to the caliber of talent in the 95 Rumble, but the caliber of talent in the 04 Rumble was so much more stacked than wins.
That is true. I agree with that. All right. Anything else you guys want to mention about that before we move on to the 05 Rumble?
Actually, yes. Thank you, Brock Lesnar, for costing Goldberg the Rumble, because if it wasn't for that, Goldberg would not get involved in the match that made Eddie the champion. So thank you, Brock Lesnar.
Yes. Very true.
That's the only thing that came good out of that match between that No Way Out, that Eddie Guerrero became the WWE champion. That's the only thing that was really good about it, because that match between Brock and Goldberg at WrestleMania, which I was at that WrestleMania, man, they both got booed out of the building so much. I was like, man. And the only thing that was really sexy was seeing Trish Stratus turn heel.
Yeah. All right. I think we can move on to the 05 Rumble.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. No, John. All right. So we go to the 2005 Royal Rumble. The show kicks off Shawn Michaels versus Edge. This is all coming off of today, where Shawn was voted in by the fans over Edge to be in the world title match, a triple threat, I believe, at that time. Or maybe it was one-on-one, Shawn and Wolverine. But I don't know, whoever. Anyway, I would say, and I was reading this the other night as well. To me, this match is one of the best opening matches in Royal Rumble match history, in Royal Rumble pay-per-view history. Edge and Shawn. The greatest, but one of the top 10, I would say, at least.
Top 10, if not top 5.
Wow, it actually beats out the
Right.
Beverly Brothers against the Bushwhackers?
Easily.
Man.
Santino Marella versus Ricardo Rodriguez beats out the Beverly Brothers.
Oh my God. I can't believe it. Hell, it even beats Rick Rude and the Ultimate Warrior pose down.
Wasn't what opened the show, but sure. Anyway, really good match between Edge and Shawn. That would see Edge, of course, cheat. Probably at that time his biggest win. And use both hands to grab a hold of the ropes to beat Shawn Michaels. All right. Great. Oh. MVP gets involved and King gets involved in the match as well. Okay. JBL beats Big Show and Kurt Angle to retain the WWE title in a triple threat match, and then Triple H beats Randy Orton in a world title match. How the hell did Randy Orton manage to, as he did in that world title match, though? Because that man got a concussion, I want to say very early on in that match, and you could tell because that was not the Randy Orton we were used to seeing for the majority of that match.
You know what? I watched that match back with him, and that match was brutal. I mean, Orton finished a match where he looked like he wasn't even at home. I mean,
Right.
You know, that's the one thing back then. If a wrestler got hurt, they didn't care. You know, how many headshots that wrestlers got back in this time. It wasn't a pretty sight, but you got to give it up to the Legend Killer. I mean, he's a workhorse. You know, even back when he was there now, he was a young Randy Orton, and he showed that he wanted to be a top guy that he is now. And he put on a show for the fans, but damn, man, I don't know how we continue. I feel like he could put him into the category like with Kurt Angle. When Kurt Angle hit the concrete and smacked his head, and The Rock and Triple H had to improvise, and Kurt Angle came back and wrestled with a concussion. It's amazing that some of these guys say today that they forget stuff they don't remember. Like Randy Orton said, he don't remember this match because he was not home.
Right. I mean, kudos to him for going the whole 21 plus in the match, but like I said, you can definitely tell he.
Yep.
It was definitely muscle memory because that was, like you said, that wasn't him.
Right. All right, so then we go in tough. You got Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero, starting off with the Wolverine. And then the number 3 entrant is the tough enough one, Peter, who comes out, does a little talking, and once he gets the chop fest heard around the world. Gets it from Chris and Eddie taking their turns chopping his chest. And then number 4 entrant is Hardcore Holly, and unless you live under a rock or don't watch WWE, then you know how much Hardcore Holly loves rookies.
Let's say Daniel
loves to beat up rookies, that is.
Let's say Daniel Spoon. I cannot say his last name. Daniel Spooner still has marks. Yeah, Pewter. Yeah, Daniel Pewter still has marks to this day of all the ass whooping he got with all them slaps. I mean, God, okay. Eddie Guerrero and Benoit took it easy. Hardcore Holly ripped the skin off of that kid. I mean, that kid had so many marks. You know, if you watch back, he gave Hardcore Holly an attitude when Toughen Up was on, and Holly said, "Boy, I will whip your ass." Yeah, he got his ass whipped.
He did.
Thank God it wasn't the Miz.
Right.
Because nobody knows the Miz was a part of that Toughen Up with this kid. And what happened if it was the Miz? The Miz would not be saying awesome. He'd be like, ow.
Yeah, we wouldn't know who Miz is nowadays, pretty much.
No.
Peter would eventually from Hardcore Holly and get eliminated by Holly, who would then get eliminated, of course, by Eddie and the Wolverine. those were some of the stories. I'm not going to go. She was in there as the longest entrant. Longest time. We'll get into some of his stuff. So this, of course, was the first and only time standoff, if you will. You get 4 guys from Raw in the ring. You got 4 guys from SmackDown in the ring. You got Teddy Long, the SmackDown Raw general managers who have come out. And we get a stop in action as those 8 guys, the 4 get on each side for what brands they are. And then we get the Royal Rumble showdown side story, if you will, because that was the whole playoff for this Royal Rumble. Play into this Royal Rumble, if you will. So you get those 8 men going at it. But then when the buzzer hits for the number 13 entrant to come out after Raw and SmackDown guys are going at it, all the action stops in the ring again because the number 13th entrant, Muhammad, who was despised by everybody, of course, because he's supposed to be from Iran or Iraq, wherever, and he's better than everybody, when in actuality that portrayed him is actually not too far from us because he's from Detroit, Michigan. So that's side
come on.
Point. Character, he gets in the ring, does this whole spiel, taking off the headdress and all that stuff, and then gets beaten up by everybody that's in the match before getting dumped out unceremoniously by everybody, pretty much. Unfortunately for Scotty Too Hottie, he would pay for that because he would get beaten up and put in and never officially made it into the ring himself. So never making it into the Royal Rumble match, even though he was the number 15th entrant into the match. Another fun thing to mention, number 18 was Simon Dean, who comes out there in Time to Stretch for the whole minute and a half before the number 19th entrant, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, comes in, and then clothesline Simon Dean out of the ring and does the stretching, knocking Simon Dean. Why you'd go out there and just do stretches instead of funny, but still stupid is what it seemed like. Of course, we got 83 in this Royal Rumble as well, so his first time. Shawn would go after Edge a little bit, but the bigger story for Shawn Michaels here, of course, Kurt Angle comes in at number 20, hits a bunch of people with soup before getting eliminated by the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, with the sweet chin music. But is a little bit later, Kurt comes back into the ring, dumps Shawn Michaels, the kid Shawn Michaels, busting him open, putting him in the ankle lock on the steps, leading into their match, of course, at that year's WrestleMania. One of the greatest matches. The coach, John, a bunch of other people, Mark Jindrak, Viscera, lead by John Cena, actually, in this match. So, Paul London. We can't talk about the 2005 Royal Rumble without talking about this spot. Paul London, unfortunately, gets dumped over the top rope, but he holds on to the rope and saves himself on the apron. Ducks underneath a climb from Snitsky, only to get leveled with the other arm. Knocks him off the ring apron onto his neck. That kid looked like he broke his watching it the other night.
That's my favorite part of that Rumble.
It is a great spot, but man, poor Paul London.
You can't blame Snitsky because it's not my fault.
He got so much heat on there because he was not supposed to do that. sell it that good from Cincy. He was just supposed to drop down. That, Paul London, man, he did some stuff just to make people look good. And they didn't like it. So I'm like, why? It looked pretty. Yeah, was it gruesome? Hell yeah, it was gruesome. But it made it look good for pay per view that you get closed by a monster.
Right. And Snitsky and Kane were in this match after they had I think the Monday before was what they were saying, and they were all taped up and definitely were not 100%. They were the ones that got involved in the casket match earlier, I said. So. But I'm going to flash forward into the match. The final four, we'll do the final five. You got Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, in there as Evolution, parts of Evolution. John Cena, Edge. Who am I missing?
Batista.
Number 27. Rey Mysterio. No, I said Batista. I said Batista as Evolution. But
My bad.
Yeah, okay. After Batista and Flair had worked together to eliminate a couple people, it looked like Rick was going to try and eliminate Batista at one point. That didn't work out for him. The Nature Boy would be eliminated, though, by Edge, and Cena, Batista, and Rey as the final four. Interesting final four, that's for sure. One faction for this Royal Rumble match, though. Oh, no, actually, I think it was in this one. Never mind. I was going to say, there was one Rumble. There was no Royal Rumble winners previously in the Rumble match. Royal Rumble winner. But I think there was that in 04.
I think it was 04.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was an interesting
remember, Triple H started those.
Yeah, you're right. Triple H did start the 06 Rumble, which we'll get into. Anyway, Rey gets eliminated by accident because Edge and Rey were trying to work together. Rey gets eliminated by Batista and Cena. Now here comes the controversial part. I think you both will agree with me. And Batista both go out of the ring at the same time. So they say. Clearly, you can see when it happens and during the replays. Batista's feet hit first. John Cena, however, they play off the fact that they both went out of the ring at the same time. And, of course, comes out because there's no way we're winners of the Royal Rumble again. Running down to the ring, slides into the ring, and that's when he tears both, not one, but both quads. He's sitting in the middle, they're sitting in the ring as the referees and Cena and Batista are arguing. Batista tosses Cena out of the ring. Cena then dumps Batista out of the ring. And all that leads to is the match gets restarted. Not long after, Batista actually finally throws John Cena out of the ring. Batista is the winner of the 2005. What do you guys think of this whole sequence to end the 2005 Rumble?
At least it wasn't 1994.
True. Where was Jack Tunney when you needed him? Oh.
I think he was dead.
Fist quads.
Okay.
Yeah, where's Tuttle? Tutty, he went over his quads, coming down to the ring.
Yeah, I think the two biggest stories out of it, like his right foot didn't hit the ground until after Batista already had hit both. It landed on the back of Batista. So Cena technically won the match. What happened with Vince? So out of it, we did get two pretty good WrestleMania, though. I'll say that much. Cena beating JBL for the WWE title, Batista beating Triple H for the world title. I loved the ways to turning on Triple H and Evolution, though, leading into their match at WrestleMania. That was one of my favorite builds to a WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, I agree with you with that part. You got two future WWE champions getting title shots at the same event. I mean, poor JBL, because before WrestleMania he had to defend the title against the Big Show at No Way Out in a barbed wire steel cage match, which was okay, but yeah, you got two guys that were on a projected to be two of the greatest world champions of all time, and we got some good matches between Batista and Triple H after this for the World Heavyweight title. So we got kudos to that. I forgot who John wrestled after he won the WWE Championship.
JBL again.
So I forgot who he wrestled. Did he wrestle JBL? Yeah, but yeah, we had some we had some great matches at WrestleMania.
Last match.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of good things came out of that. I felt like 2000. So. A lot of big things, big changes for the WWE, really. All right, then we move on to the 2006 Royal Rumble. This on the heels, of course, of the Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero passing away at the end in October of 2005, which will play into a lot of this Royal Rumble match when we get to it, which didn't main event the show, so it won't be the end of the Royal Rumble to talk about. Kick off the Royal Rumble with the Cruiserweight Open to crown for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship of the World. Kid Cash defends against Funaki, Jamie Noble, Nunzio, Paul London, and Gregory Helms. Gregory Helms wins the title and becomes this is the start of his reign as the long-reigning Cruiserweight champion in WWE history, I do believe, still to this day. So, an incredible run for Gregory Helms is what this started off for. Mickie James beating Ashley Massaro with Trish Stratus as a special guest referee. The Boogeyman defeats JBL with Jillian Hall. And then you get the Royal Rumble match. I said we wouldn't talk about it last because I'm going to skip over it for a minute. John Cena beats Edge by submission to regain the WWE Championship. And in the main event, Kurt Angle beats Mark Henry by submission, or by pinfall. He cheats his way to retain the World Heavyweight title. Undertaker returns, destroys the ring. That was the main event. Because Undertaker and Kurt Angle would face each other in the way out. Backtracking to the Royal Rumble match, we kick off the Rumble. Number one entrant, as John mentioned, the Game, Triple H. Number two entrant, who had previously said earlier in the show, got me this time, Eddie. Rey Mysterio, of course, coming out as a number two entrant in the Royal Rumble match. With coming out in the low round, so, and the Eddie Guerrero shirt. Interesting Rumble. What's one of the big stories you guys felt like came out of this? Obviously, the big one for Rey Mysterio that we'll get into. I felt like there was a whole lot really that played into WrestleMania spot. I will talk about that played into WrestleMania, but
So everyone talks about how Triple H and Rey Mysterio went from 1 and 2 into the final 3.
right.
Could we just go back and give Carlito some respect for his first Rumble match lasting as far as he did from, I believe it was either 10 or 11.
For 11. And he went 38 minutes and 29 seconds.
Yep.
I know this is gonna sound a little hasty, but I'm gonna say it. The Shawn Michaels McMahon saga from this Raw.
That was the one thing I was gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah, because you had the return of Shane McMahon, then you had the match between Shawn and McMahon at WrestleMania, which was, for an old guy, Vince McMahon knew how to wrestle. But look what we got out of it. We got the return of D-Generation X coming out of this. And then we got the best thing since sliced bread. We got the Spirit Squad.
But before we got the Spirit Squad and all that, at this Rumble, we also got Shelton Benjamin's mama.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
We did.
I mean, hell, they could have used somebody better call my mama, because Shelton Benjamin already did it.
Well, speaking of Shelton Benjamin and Shawn Michaels, this was the first year of what was like 3 or 4 years in a row that the Heartbreak Kid actually eliminated Shelton Benjamin from the...
That's right.
I noticed that as I was rewatching him. I was like, holy shit, Shelton should have stayed away from Shawn.
I mean, if you look at matches between Shawn and Shelton, the one I remember when Shelton jumped off the rope and got a big super kick right in the face. You know, so that was one of the best things. But other than that, I feel like this Royal Rumble set up some great matches. I mean, were they okay? Yeah, they were. You know, excuse me. Yeah, so they got some, but the one with the McMahons and Shawn talking about the screw job and all that other crap that they did, you know, and then Vince McMahon had a match with God and Shawn Michaels.
Vince and Shane.
Yeah.
God and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
At Backlash. Crazy. So, you said that's right. Oh, this Eugene was at that too. It was his first Royal Rumble.
No shit, was it?
Lasted 16 minutes, a little over. Hopefully do the final four, but
good for him.
Eugene.
Oh, Eugene, it cut out when you said it. I was confused.
The Native Americans Taka returned in this Royal Rumble as well. Yeah, animal
with Eminem.
Huh?
Wasn't he technically like in a feud with Eminem?
Was he in a feud with Eminem going into the match? Could be. I can't remember if he was or.
No, that was Road Warrior Animal.
My bad. I know it was one of the two.
Yeah, I thought so. Warrior Animal against Eminem afterwards.
Yes, and then he became a biker.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we usually go over the final four, but as John mentioned, more so talk 3 for this Rumble. The match, Triple H and Rey Mysterio in there with the number 30 entrant. Triple H lasted in seconds before Rey Mysterio, leaving us down to Rey and Randy, but first Rey out of the ring and beats up Rey a little bit. Again, it looks like Randy's going to have to win the Royal Rumble match. However, Ray managed to get the upper hand. Head scissors eliminates Randy Orton. The year prior record and to record of 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 12 seconds. The longest time match. And Rey Mysterio is the second member to and win the Royal Rumble match.
Should have been the first.
I agree. Anything else? Royal Rumble.
For Ray to win the Royal Rumble that year after Eddie passed away, I think it was the right move to have Ray win the Rumble to honor Eddie. But we got a great WrestleMania matches out of world title matches out of it. We got the triple threat with Ray, Orton, and Kurt Angle. And then we got Triple H and John Cena for the world title. I mean, we got some great matches out of that.
For the WS.
So I like the
2022 was one.
I like the plan for them to give the win to Rey Mysterio. However, I do not like the despicable script of screwing over Chavo like they did.
It was a nice moment to give Ray or Eddie, or with Eddie, whatever you want to call it, but as a world champion too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's too. But yeah, I agree. They have Chavo go back to it, use it, get nothing out of it, pretty much.
And that's why you keep somebody named Kerwin White.
Because he was Kerwin White before. Right. All right. We'll move on to the 7 Royal Rumble. Oops, wrong button. Show with the Hardy Boys beat M in a tag team match. Great tag team opening contest. Lashley beats Test by countout to retain the ECW. Was a terrible match after you see the tag team match between the Hardys and M&M. Beats Mr. Kennedy to retain the world title. John Cena, in an amazing effort here, defeats Umaga to retain the WWE Championship. Cena was on the body of that match, but to see the way he won this match with the ring rope and all the strength he had to use to choke out Umaga was a sight to see when you see all that blood pouring off of Cena's face. Vision that you have at the end of that match. It was almost his John Cena, his Stone Cold Steve Austin moment. I heard you with the Jamal comment there. Anything you guys want to say about the undercards before we go into the Rumble match?
Yeah, the Bobby Lashley and Andrew match.
Uh-huh.
Andrew looked at brawling, but that was a shit show. I mean, that match should have been. I mean, I understand you got Bobby Lashley, who looks even better now than he looked back then. I mean, now he looks like a Greek god. I mean, he is just, that man looks better than he did before. But Test when he put on muscle looked horrible. You know, I mean, George the Animal Steel would have looked better than Test did. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I just think it was not a good match. You got two guys that didn't know what they're doing, but we know what happened after this. You know, Bobby Lashley had a feud with the McMahons, and McMahon became a gangster for some reason.
And also
You
became
know,
the
and the
ECW
worst. Yep, and the worst ECW champion in ECW history.
He went to die pretty much, even though it lasted another year plus. Couple years.
I mean, WrestleMania 23, we know what happened in the Battle of the Billionaires, which was, I can't watch that match because I hate both of them guys, you know, so I can't watch to see, oh, look, somebody gets their hair cut off. Woo! You know, like, yeah, we know it. We know it was in Detroit, but it sucked.
What were you saying, John?
You can't watch the President Haircut special?
No, I can't. I mean, did you see how Trump tried to maul McMahon? It looked like two bears fighting over a steak.
Right.
It looked like two monkeys trying to hump a football.
Yeah. It looked like Sam Darnoldson trying to throw a football, and the Rams took care of him. That's how bad that match was.
Current events. Yeah. Really had to know what we were laughing about.
Yep.
Go into the Royal Rumble match. It kicks off with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and Finlay. Interesting two there. One thing to remember for this is the first match with the ECW wrestlers in there. ECW brand in WWE. Sabu comes out and sets up a table. Kane eventually comes in and would deliver a choke slam off the ring apron through the table to Sabu, who set up his own knees, really, in this match. Edge was the Iron Man, really. This match went 44 minutes. Kane would get eliminated by King Booker in here, see him in the Rumble. King Booker would then get eliminated by Kane. But before, King Booker got eliminated by Kane first, and then went back in the ring and eliminated Kane. So, big story out of it. Of course, the Great Khali comes in there and eliminates like 7 men in a row. Before the number 30 entrant, The Undertaker comes out and eliminates the Great Khali. We'd see the Miz in there for the match as well. He stood no chance. So the big thing, the final four. You got The Undertaker, Michaels, and Edge. Team rated RKO, the Heartbreak Kid, and the Phenom. I don't know if you guys will agree with this or not, but to me, this was the greatest Final Four, and this was the greatest finish to a Royal Rumble match in history of the Royal Rumble, in my opinion.
Especially with the final two. You know, you have Shawn and The Undertaker. You know, no offense to Rated RKO Edge. Edge will have his flowers somewhere down the road in a Royal Rumble match. Orton will have his flowers, but to have two of the greatest in-ring performers in The Undertaker and the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, going at it to see who was going to to main event WrestleMania 23 in Detroit. Into Classic, because you knew these guys were going to want it. I felt, from my opinion, I don't know if you guys will agree with it, I was happy to see The Undertaker win a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, me too.
Because Sean already had two, and Sean was on that farewell tour. Sean was in the Royal Rumble because Triple H was hurt. He tore his what was it, his ACL or something?
His quadricep.
Yeah, he tore it, but we got two great WrestleMania matches. We got to finally see Batista and was it Batista or who did Undertaker face? Was it Edge or Batista? Who did he face?
Batista and Undertaker.
You got Batista and Undertaker, which was
it was Batista and Undertaker.
Yeah, I forgot. But you got Shawn Michaels and John Cena, and that match was okay to me. I mean, I feel like it wasn't Shawn's best WrestleMania.
Right. I felt like their hour match they had on Raw was better.
Yeah. And John could agree with me. Do you feel like Shawn Michaels' WrestleMania match with HBK was better? I felt like it was an okay match.
That could have been better.
Yeah. But Undertaker and Batista, that was a good match because that's when we started to know about the streak.
Right.
Because they really never talked about it as much until Undertaker won the World Heavyweight title. But we got some good moments, and I thought it was the right choice for Undertaker to win his only one WrestleMania. So yeah, I feel like it was the right choice.
Right. I agree. They gave the Final Four plenty of time to fight each other. Seeing Orton and Edge using the chairs to bust open the Undertaker, and they gave Undertaker and Shawn so much too. You don't see that hardly ever in the Royal Rumble match, but those two guys got all their stuff in on each other, and it just makes it the best Royal Rumble finish in history. Not just because my favorite.
No, I agree with you, man. I felt like it was the right choice, and they had time. I mean, I think the only time that the Royal Rumble had two guys that were wrestling maybe for a couple of minutes was Savage and Yoko from the 1993 Royal Rumble match.
Right.
If you look at that match, that went a little longer.
Before that.
But other than that, the Royal Rumble matches have always been short with the final two. It never really went, an extra like 5 or 10 minutes.
Right. Anything you want to put in there about that finish, John, before I move on?
It's about time that he finally got a Rumble win.
It was the first time number 30 entrant won the Royal Rumble match.
And I will say this. It's funny that these two ended the 2007 Royal Rumble. And we'll find out how funny that is in just a little bit when we hit the 08 Rumble.
I know, right? Speaking of the 08 Royal Rumble. Yes, match, but the pay-per-view anyway.
John just clapped his hands and it went right on to the 08 Royal Rumble.
I know, right? I like how that worked. Madison Square Garden host. You got Montel Vontavious Porter, MVP, going up against the Nature Boy Ric Flair to kick off the show. Match, as Ric Flair was on his final run in WWE at that point. We know what happened to him at WrestleMania in 2008. His last match in WWE against Shawn, of course. Flair would win this match against MVP by submission with the figure four. JBL qualification. Edge beat Rey Mysterio to retain the World Heavyweight title, and then Randy Orton defeated Jeff Hardy in a WWE Championship match before we get into the... Anything you guys want to say about those undercard matches before we jump into the Rumble?
Oh, fuck the matches. One thing I have to say was Santino Marella dishing New York about the Yankees. Like, fuck you, you Italian bastard. Like, talking bad about the New York Yankees, you know, and all that shit. You can kiss my ass. Nobody liked you anyway. Kiss my ass. And messing with Melina, you know, with not Melina, Maria, about her doing Playboy. I enjoyed it, goddammit. Thank you very much for proposing for that, you sexy mama.
I enjoyed the Randy Orton Jeff Hardy match.
I did too.
Randy and Jeff had a good match.
The Chris Jericho one's weird.
So now, yeah, the Jericho JBL match. Didn't need it really. So now we go into what John was alluding to, the fact that The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels 2007. We get to the 2008 Royal Rumble. I mean, before I go into the participants, you're in Madison Square Garden for the Royal Rumble. So who else would you have intros for the Royal Rumble match other than Michael Buffer? You're shaking your head.
No, I do. I just can't believe Michael Buffer stole Triple H's entrance. I mean, how dare he?
That's funny, but yeah, Michael Buffer's been doing that longer than Triple H has.
Oh, damn. That's right. That's right. Damn it. Yeah.
Let's get ready to Rumble. Anyhow, and The Undertaker, the man who won the year prior. And entrant number 2, well, here's what John is referring to, because entrant number 2 is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. As we get Rumble 07 kicking off, Royal Rumble in 2000. You mentioned Santino Badmouth and the Yankees. Well, Santino's the number 3 entrant. He lasts a whole 25 seconds, but getting eliminated by The Undertaker. So Santino got exactly what he deserved.
And I was very happy to see his ass get thrown out of the Rumble.
I bet you were.
Oh, yeah.
The Great Khali comes out number 4, and he gets taken care of in just over a minute by The Undertaker. So Undertaker got the better of Khali in back-to-back Royal Rumble matches. Batista was pretty much the Iron Man in this match, as he entered number 8. You get in 18 entrant, you get Superfly Jimmy Snuka, making what I believe was his final appearance in a Royal Rumble match, and one of his last appearances in WWE. I don't think it was his very last, but I'm sure it was his last Royal Rumble appearance anyway. And then, of course, 19, Hot Rod himself, Roddy Piper, as we get to Miss Lee. We're part of one of the most famous of all time, where Piper, of course, smashed Snuka with the coconut. You get these two guys going at it. I will say this, though. Piper should have never took his shirt off for this fight, even though he wasn't out there for very long, because, man, was he out of shape.
No. I don't know how Snuka actually walked, because they were both like just like trying to be there. I mean, even Snuka looked bad.
Yeah, I can tell. For sure. And again, like I said, luckily neither one of them were in there very long before Hut. It little trip down memory lane, I guess you could say, that they gave the Garden anyway.
Oh yeah, I think that was the first time ever that two guys that were in the first WrestleMania were actually in the Royal Rumble at Madison Square Garden, which from my heart, being, the Garden always is sacred to me. Not because of the New York Knicks or the New York Rangers, but which they are doing good.
Right.
But the Garden is always home to me because of the WWE. And it's a shame, still to this day, you don't have live events like they used to. They got them once in a while, and I know in March WWE is going back there for Raw, but before this, WWE was a namesake in there. Like once a month, they used to do Saturday night, November 29th. It was always special to go to the Garden and see wrestling. And it's a shame that they don't do it as much anymore because of streaming and all that other stuff. So the Garden is hollow grounds, and I miss going there for wrestling.
Right. There was a few times during this Rumble guys in the ring. We get to the end of the entrance wise. Triple H is the number 29 entrant. And when it gets to time for the buzzer to go off, everybody's wondering who the number 30 entrant is. And we get the infamous return of John Cena, or should I do that way, since that's technically what it was. Shoulder injury. That took him. This is, of course, his return after having. Much to the surprise of not only the fans, but to Triple H, who you could see shocked when that music hit and Cena came out as well. The eliminations would happen quickly after everybody got there. We get down to the final four of Cena, Triple H, Batista, Kane. Batista and Triple H managed to team up and eliminate Kane before Batista would be next eliminated by the game. Triple H and Cena would go at it briefly before John Cena would deliver an F. Triple H over the top to the floor. John Cena wins to go on to wrestle at WrestleMania for the World Championship, whichever it was at that time. So I think, to me personally, the two things that stuck out most for this, that's going over some of the eliminations. Shawn gets eliminated by Mr. Kennedy, which was shocking. Didn't really play into WrestleMania too much. Shawn and Kennedy had their own rivalries, but before that, Undertaker got eliminated by Shawn. This is all leading to WrestleMania 24. So in WWE at that point. Like I said, it didn't seem like a lot of this was really leading to WrestleMania stuff, but the fact that Triple H and Cena were the final two and they'd be involved, there's that story for you.
Also, can we all agree that the best elimination of the night was Hornswoggle eliminating The Miz?
Yes. To see,
John,
but
John, you are wrong again. I am so sorry. You are so wrong. The best elimination was when Kai and Ty in 2000 got thrown over the top of a Royal Rumble match they were never in. That was the best. That was the best when Taka Michinoku broke something. And
No,
then the Mean Street Posse. Come on, man. Come on, man. The Mean Street Posse and Kai and Ty got their ass whooped of a Royal Rumble match they weren't even in.
Can we be realistic here? The best of all time is going to be in the next Rumble we talk about. But the best of the 08 was Miz getting eliminated from Hornswoggle.
That's true. That's true. I agree with you with that one. But the Royal Rumble down the line, you can't see a man using an umbrella was not the best Royal Rumble elimination.
Oh, no, I'm talking about one. Tony knows which one.
But anyway, Cena wins. H and Orton face each other in a triple threat match at WrestleMania coming out of that. So that's what we get from the Royal Rumble in 2008. Big win, but not a big payoff for John Cena when it came to.
It's amazing how he healed up that quick.
Yeah, it's always amazing how quick John Cena's healed up from injuries. We did that. All right, 2009, Detroit, Michigan, Joe Louis Arena. John's mentioned it to us off air. He was there at the Joe for the show. Kicks off with Jack Swagger beating Matt Hardy to retain the ECW championship, which Jack Swagger had won on ECW. Melina defeats Beth Phoenix with Santino Marella to become the new women's champion. John Cena beats JBL with Shawn Michaels in his corner to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. As Shawn, he was supposed to be JBL's servant pretty much at that point in time. And Shawn had had enough. But there's a bigger story with the other world title match because Jeff Hardy, who was a WWE champion, had won a triple threat match against Edge and Triple H, and then to defend against Edge in this no disqualification match. You're thinking, man, there's no way Jeff could drop the title that quick, right? Well, his brother had other ideas. Because Matt Hardy comes out, got heard around the world. The chair shot to his own brother, Jeff, knocking Jeff out, leading to Edge winning back the WWE Championship. John feeling like in the crowd for seeing Matt Hardy turn on Jeff and cost him the WWE Championship he had waited so many years to win.
It was a fucking.
He worked so hard for.
It was a fucking punch to the chest. I mean, no one ever thought that Jeff Hardy was going to lose the title that quickly. Everyone was behind Jeff. And then you saw Matt come out like, oh, okay, this is nice. And then the chair, and it's just like, what the fuck just happened? I mean, you didn't even know how to explain when it happened. It just hit you, and it's still like, it took maybe 2 or 3 weeks to actually finally process that Matt Hardy just screwed his little fucking brother. And it was just a knock to the chest. I mean, you can't really explain it any more than that.
I believe it. I mean, I know, just remember watching and seeing how it was a shocking moment, that's for sure. unexpected. Match between Matt and Jeff at WrestleMania that year, which it was an okay match between those two, but I felt like it could have done something more with it than what they did. Everybody felt seeing Matt turn on Jeff in the first place. What's your opinion on all of it?
Well, John, you just made me cry and piss my pants because that was the saddest moment in WWE history. To see the Hardy Boys break up in a fashion that we never thought that Matt Hardy would delete his own brother. And he did. And one of the saddest moments because they were good together. I mean, I know it's a storyline, but to have your brother lose the title that he just won a month prior, it was different.
That's for sure. So, before we go too far into the Royal Rumble match itself, the big story, of course, going into the Royal Rumble event, and they even mentioned it before the show really started, was the fact that on a Monday Night Raw prior to the Royal Rumble, Mr. McMahon had a confrontation in the ring, which was going to lead, it looked like, to Vince McMahon firing Randy Orton. However, Randy punt Vince McMahon. Vince happened to be carted out of the arena in an ambulance. So the question was the show going to go on? Well, the McMahon family, and the other question is, what's going to happen to Randy Orton? What are the repercussions? Nobody knew. Nobody was going to know until at least Monday Night Raw, the night after the Royal Rumble. Which led to an interesting backstage segment between Randy Orton and Chris Jericho. Jericho saying he didn't blame Orton for doing what he did, that Vince was a shell of his former self, that wasn't the actual Mr. he knew. Vince deserved what he got, pretty much. But he didn't think Randy Orton was going to be employed past the next night's Raw. So, the match itself. You kick off the match with Raymond John Morrison. Interesting, too, to get in there. Great number 5, but ends up being the first man eliminated as he gets eliminated by Vladimir Kozlov. And by who? But I honestly will say, knowing what happened with the Vladimir Kozlov character, I think character for him, if they would have ran with what they wanted to do originally with this character, instead of what they ended up doing, a comedy act. I mean, it was fun and funny to watch him and Santino together, but this is what we should have gotten Vladimir Kozlov on, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely.
Out there, he dominated. He took out Khali. He eliminated MVP Carlito before getting eliminated by Triple H. But Kozlov just looked like a monster, if you will, at first, before Triple H came along, eliminated him. I think Triple H is part of the reason for the downfall of Vladimir. Remember, it was in 2009. Later on that year, obviously, Triple H was WWE had a match with Kozlov for the WWE Championship, and I feel like Kozlov just kind of fell off the map after that match and kind of went down. Or maybe it was into a wait, but still. Looking through this, remember, I just watched this yesterday. Nothing huge for Rumble. I will say, you mentioned how the Big Show was looking really big in his match with Bravo we were talking about today. Big Show looked terrible in this Royal Rumble. He came out number 30, but he looked gassed almost right away. He was not in very good shape, in my opinion. Just rewatching it back, it looked like it was hard to move around inside the Royal Rumble match.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I'm a big Paul White fan. I mean, him as the Giant and Big Show, and he was so out of shape. Like, my God, I didn't know how he just lasted in the ring so long and all that. But he did what he had to. But you look at him now, he looks amazing. It's almost like Nia Jax.
Right.
If you look at Nia Jax back in the day and you look at her now, no matter what, a woman is always beautiful. But she looks amazing now.
She does. But so I'll bring it down to the final 6, really. As we get...
Before you get to the final 6.
You got Legacy.
The best elimination of the whole night. It's gotta be Dolph Ziggler's music hitting, coming down. It's running into Kane and be like, "Hi, I'm Dolph Ziggler," and then Kane just throwing his ass over. Priceless.
Yes. Hey now. That was Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes at the time. They were called priceless.
Well, he just bushwhacked him.
Yep.
He did.
Yeah.
21, but since we mentioned that, you can't go without mentioning the guy from the year before that you despised what he had to say about the New York Yankees. Number 28 entrant hits the ring, only to get clotheslined out of the ring by the Big Red Machine King. 1 second. The record book still shows to this day the shortest time in a Royal Rumble match.
I wasn't ready.
I remember when he said that. I wasn't ready. Yeah, you were, bitch.
There you go.
And Kane's laughing the entire time at him.
Right. Yeah, I was like, oh, shame on Kane. But yeah, so we get to the final 6. Going at it on the outside of the ring because it's Big Show, Undertaker, Triple H, and Legacy. The final 6. Undertaker ends up knocking Big Show off the apron, eliminating him. Big Show ends up pulling Undertaker off the apron to eliminate the Undertaker from the match. Fight through the crowd, leaving us with Legacy and Triple H. Triple H goes to pedigree Cody Rhodes and dumps Randy Orton. He thinks out of the ring, but Orton holds on in the apron. Only hits the apron. Eliminates Ted DiBiase, eliminates Cody Rhodes, and then Randy Orton from behind dumps Triple H out of the ring right away to win. What was it like? And I'm going to go to you, John, again, because you were there live. Some of the eliminations that happened in this match, like Santino's quick elimination, and then to see the final 6, the final 4, the finals of this Royal Rumble match. It had transpired the way it did.
Well, when it ended,
even to see Legacy work together,
it was split because you had people that were excited. Randy got the Rumble win. Yeah. Then you had people like me that all you wanted to say was, "Fuck you, Randy." But when it came to like seeing the eliminations and hearing the ohs and the ooh and just like the whole embodied self it was, and it's like watching it on TV. It's one thing, but actually being there for it and experiencing it in person is a totally different opportunity.
I believe
And I
it.
do got one thing to say. Certain superstar that's an asshole. Fuck you, Mike Knox. Don't ever touch Rey Mysterio that way again.
Yeah.
Oh my! I don't want to
What?
say this, but I know this is not related to the Royal Rumble. Corey Graves is not on NXT.
Nope.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I just watched.
Off for the day.
It's only Booker and what the
Vic
hell's his name? Joseph.
Joseph. Yeah.
Big Joseph. Yeah, yeah. They're the only two that are on NXT tonight. Oh my God! What man, Corey?
I'm telling you, Corey's going to TNA.
Could be. All right.
Man.
So, anything left to say about the 2009 Royal Rumble as we wind down today's show?
Well, when we got out of Royal Rumble 09, we got one of the greatest matches of all time. You know, Shawn and Taker.
Yeah.
You know, or am I missing a year?
Yes. That was the first.
I mean, we got one of the greatest matches.
Also,
I mean, we got the 25th anniversary, and we have Shawn and Taker going at it to one of the greatest matches. I still think that's one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. So that's my part about the whole 9 Royal Rumble.
R
Also, what? Then?
B D.
Yes, RVD was part of that Royal Rumble match.
When that music hit, that place erupted like nothing else.
Makes sense for
I
the
mean,
Michigan boy to return to Michigan.
oh yeah, I mean he's just from down the street in Battle Creek, so you know.
Yeah. He had an okay showing in the Rumble. I mean, it's
Oh
kind
yeah.
of or something like that. But I will say, when Big Show did come out at number 30, I want to say that was one ever that still half the Royal Rumble match, because there was 15 or 16 men in the ring when Big Show entered the match.
Oh yeah.
That's something you don't see. So,
Do we have a count of how many people in each Royal Rumble that were in the Royal Rumble when the number 30th competitor came out?
I mean,
Or is this the first time that there was more than 16 people in the match?
I want to say that was the first time they had guys in there when number 30 entrant came out. I won't swear to it, but I think it was.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
So, in my opinion, this might have been one of the best set of Royal Rumble matches that we'll go over. 2007 is, like I said, my favorite Royal Rumble of all time. Next Tuesday night, and I might we've gone over 8 o'clock the last 2 weeks in a row, so I'm 5:30 start time if you guys are okay with that next Tuesday, but we'll see. 5:45 somewhere in there. But next week we do have 8 Royal Rumbles to go over.
Tuesday.
Are you busy next Tuesday?
What is it? The 21st?
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta go food shopping that day, so it'll be a little hard for me to get back around 5 o'clock because we're going around 2:15.
Yeah, like I said, 5:30, 5:45. I was thinking, but 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah, I think 6 would be good. I mean, I don't have to rush back, and who knows what the hell the weather's gonna look like.
Sure. Yeah, start a little bit earlier than you keep us in, but anyways, we'll have 2010 through the 2017 Royal Rumbles to go over then, and then the 2018 through 4 to go over. All leading up to, of course, on February 7th, weather permitted, the Royal Rumble prediction show we will have at Eddie's house, and then
February
live
1st.
watch along. Thinking about yes, February 1st, Royal Rumble. We'll be on the lookout for that. So, John and Eddie, we thank you guys for joining in. Kevin, thanks for the couple comments that you left in this during the show. We will catch us in the next one. We're out of here.